Hi everyone, so thanks again for joining today's webinar. My name is Melissa Stept and I'm the Marcom Manager here at Cardiolog Analytics. I'll go ahead and kick things off. Today's webinar is about improving productivity and engagement in SharePoint and Office 365 with the power of gamification. So a bit of housekeeping first. This webinar is being recorded. If you want to share this with a colleague, we're going to be sending an email with the recording after today's session. And of course, if you have any questions, please send them through the questions box within the GoToWebinar panel. We'll leave some time towards the end for a Q&A. You can also connect with us on Twitter with the Twitter handle @Cardiolog. In regards to the agenda for today's webinar, we'll start off with a very short introduction. I'll talk a bit about Cardiolog Analytics and who we are. Then I'll jump straight into gamification for SharePoint and Yammer, what it is and why we need it. We'll discuss why gamification works and some of the benefits of incorporating gamification, including increasing productivity and collaboration. I'll then jump into a presentation of our revolutionary product, Gamify, to show you how we can use gamification methodology to create positive change in any organization. At the end, we'll be taking some questions, so feel free to send your questions throughout the course of the presentation. And for a brief introduction, Cardiolog Analytics has been around for about 14 years now, since 2005. And we're based out of Boston. Over the past 14 years, we've been focused on web analytics designed for SharePoint and now Office 365. Our flagship solution is Cardiolog Analytics, and it's built specifically for internal platforms, including all versions of SharePoint from 2007 to 2016, as well as SharePoint Online and Office 365. We can also track third-party tools like Yammer, Citrion, and CRM tools. Our solution is available both on-prem and as a SaaS version based on Power BI. So just a little bit about our vision as a company. We've been working with our customers for about 14 years, and this slide shows our evolution. Our goal is to help our customers constantly improve SharePoint based on how it's being used. So there are three main pillars that we talk to customers about. The first pillar is monitoring activity, which is tracking the usage within SharePoint with in-depth intranet analytics, insights, and usage reports. Our customers realize that understanding usage analytics is often simply not enough. They wanted a way to take action based on the insights gained from monitoring their portal usage. And that's why the second pillar is engaging users, asking them what their needs are, what their pain points are, and what's not working for them. And then finally, the most important pillar is enhance. We want to make sure we're constantly improving SharePoint based on these pillars. The idea is to have actionable metrics, which will allow us to constantly make SharePoint better for our users by increasing corporate productivity and improving portal ROI. And I'm going to do a brief overview of our various analytics and employee engagement solutions. Our flagship product is Cardiolog Analytics, and this is available both on-prem and as a SaaS solution. Next, we have Cardiolog Engage, a great interactive solution for sending internal communication campaigns across the SharePoint portal and engaging with your users. With Engage, you can connect with your users to know what their needs are, launch surveys, and dig deep to understand how you can improve various aspects of the portal. And finally, today we're going to talk about Gamify. We'll focus a lot of our presentation today on how implementing gamification into your SharePoint and Office 365 environments can boost productivity and engagement. So first, I want to talk about the challenges portal administrators face to explain the need for introducing gamification. 70% of American workers and a staggering 87% of employees worldwide are not engaged. This figure amounts to around $7 trillion in lost employee productivity globally. This means that not having engaged employees not only decreases employee productivity, but it also has a huge effect on the company's ROI from their employees. With gamification, you can turn this around by engaging your employees. So what is gamification? Gamification is the process of adding game-like mechanics to other contexts in order to motivate or engage users. Game-like elements can include competitive tasks, goals, leaderboards, points, and anything else you might find in a typical game. The goal of gamification is to frame a non-game task as a game in order to make the task more appealing to users. According to a recent Gallup survey on employee engagement is correlated with many drivers of success, including higher productivity, better customer retention, and low turnover rates. These factors all add up to 21% higher profitability among firms which engage employees. By bringing gamification techniques into the workplace, companies can engage their employees more, resulting in the success factors I just mentioned: higher productivity, better customer retention, and low turnover rates. Gamification motivates employees to be more productive and engaged in SharePoint, boosting SharePoint adoption and creating a better ROI for your company. So why does gamification work? One of the reasons gamification works so well is because it motivates users intrinsically. Other methods for engaging employees typically use the promise of external rewards, such as praises or bonuses, to try to motivate employees extrinsically. Gamification, on the other hand, makes users want to complete a task for its intrinsic reward, such as a feeling of accomplishment. Many studies have concluded that intrinsic motivation is actually a much better long-term motivator of productivity than extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivators can undermine users' confidence in the value of a task they are completing or their ability to complete it, while intrinsic motivation makes users genuinely invested in completing the task for its own sake. Additionally, studies have shown that using extrinsic motivators means that users will only be motivated for as long as the reward is offered, while intrinsic motivation lasts longer, since the intrinsic reward for completing the task will always remain. Like I mentioned in the last slide, a sense of achievement is very important in engaging users and getting them to make repeat visits to the portal. One way to achieve this sense of accomplishment is through rewards and recognition for your employees. By congratulating someone on a job well done, you boost their confidence and their drive to repeat the same action. Gamification makes doing this so much easier. To recognize each employee in person would be time-consuming and would most likely result in at least a few forgotten employees. With a gamification system, users are reinforced for their positive behavior automatically. This instant reinforcement makes them feel more driven to repeat their successful behaviors, making them more productive workers. We can see the same type of reinforcement on social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. When someone uploads a post to Instagram, almost instantly people begin liking their post. This real-time feedback excites the user and motivates them to continue posting on the platform. By incorporating gamification into the SharePoint portal, you can inspire users to repeat positive behaviors, such as liking comments and writing posts. Another reason why gamification is so successful is because it creates competition between colleagues. The dashboards and gamification tools show users their scores and how their score has changed over time. Being able to view their own scores inspires users to consistently work hard to increase their total score. This is generated by that intrinsic motivation we talked about earlier. Other than their own scores, these dashboards also show how the user ranks against their peers and which users have the top scores. This gives employees another clear goal to work towards. Just like with reinforcement, social media is also another example of this. If you post a status on Facebook and it gets fewer likes than your friend's statuses, you will want to post it again, but with different content to get more likes. Seeing other scores inspires people to change their strategy and results in new ideas and increased productivity. Now, what are the benefits of gamification? One of the main benefits is that it brings fun back into the workplace. The essential purpose of gamification is to incorporate fun and game-like elements into work. This turns mundane tasks like onboarding into an engaging and interactive experience that interests users, while also making them more likely to retain the information they learn. Incorporating gamification features like points and badges increases the game-like feeling and enhances the learning experience. Keeping these game elements as rewards is important because you don't want gameplay to replace tasks. Its goal is to enhance them. One of the most helpful features of gamification is that it provides users with instant feedback. For example, if they are a new employee, they can easily see how far along they are in the training process. This encourages users because they are instantly rewarded for their hard work, making them want to continue learning. It also means they are more engaged in the Office 365 onboarding and will have better retention of the information. Additionally, gamification provides users with clear goals as the onboarding process is outlined for them. There's no confusion on what tasks users need to accomplish, as they can see their badges for tasks they've previously completed and badges they have yet to earn. In terms of long-term employees, gamification helps administrators to reinforce desired behaviors. If you want an employee to focus more on editing comments than reading them, with your gamification tool, you can make editing content the employee's next step. This gets rid of any confusion for both the end users and administrators for what people are working on and what they should be working on. Investing money in a gamification system can seem like an unnecessary expense. However, once you implement it, you will receive a return on your investment over time. By engaging your employees during the onboarding process, they'll have higher retention and recall. This means that you won't need to spend money on retraining later. This will also result in your employees being profitable sooner, as they will learn their job tasks faster and more efficiently. It will also benefit the ROI of purchasing products like SharePoint and Office 365, as you can ensure that your employees are engaged in the products and taking full advantage of all their benefits. Now, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to Gamify. To solve some of the most pressing SharePoint challenges, we created Gamify, a SharePoint-based gamification service which encourages users to take action in the portal and rewards and recognizes them for it. Gamify is a radically new way to drive productivity and adoption through a gamified user experience. It helps you to make your activities, content, and your users more visible within the intranet, with an end goal of boosting SharePoint adoption and productivity. Gamify is available to deploy on SharePoint On-Prem, SharePoint Online, and Yammer. With Gamify, your organization can use recognition to reward contributions. Employee recognition can always be improved, and Gamify provides continuous recognition via badges, leaderboards, and tokens, driving employee adoption of and contribution to SharePoint. This, in turn, motivates existing users and encourages new users to adopt SharePoint as a key component in their work habits. With Gamify, admins can easily tap into user motivation, encourage users with targeted user dashboards and web parts within SharePoint, display their engagement score, how they compare to their peers, their best performing content, and next step suggestions. Gamify also drives social engagement. Gamification encourages collaboration and rewards it, creating a strong social driver for the use of SharePoint. Gamify can improve onboarding and training processes with user score updates and next step suggestions. Gamification works well in training, whether for onboarding or on the job. Used with SharePoint, it can create a measurable increase in the completion of training tasks and the involvement in learning. Now, let's do a quick demo to see Gamify in action. So, starting with our administrator dashboard, here you can see how admin can select the metrics they want to track based on their organization's KPIs. You can select from a variety of user activities you want to incentivize in your portal. For example, you can choose if you want your end users to like content, follow content, write a post, or rate content. So as you can see, it's very easy to select the metrics that you'd like to track. And first, I'll show you how the dashboards look as a message bar and web part on the SharePoint portal. So starting at the top with the message bar, on the left you can see your name, picture, which department you're in, and your current score. And next to this, you can see how you rank in each of the 3 personas. So personas are used to profile the user based on their usage in the portal. And there are 3 types of personas. One being the engager, someone that rates content, likes content, follows content or people. Next we have the explorer, someone who views content and performs searches. And the contributor, someone who writes posts, comments, or uploads docs. A user is assigned a persona based on which of these 3 activity areas they are the strongest in. In our case, our end user is in the top 10% of all engagers and needs to make progress in the areas of exploration and contribution. To the right of this, we can see the top engagers for our users group, which is quality assurance. He can see how he stacks up against the user with the top score and the one with scores just above and below him. He can also see top groups to see how his department ranks against the department with the highest score and those with scores above and below QA. Next, he can see who are the top employees, and again, this is a collapsible section where he can see who are the top performers in each of the 3 personas for this week. And lastly, there is the Boost Your Score section where the user can see exactly which next steps he needs to take to boost his score, which I think is one of the most powerful parts of Gamify. This eliminates any confusion between administrators and end users on what the end user's next tasks in the portal are. And in the web part, right below, the user can also see how he ranks against his peers in the QA department, as well as his recent achievements, being the top 3% engager, 1,000 users reading his content in 1 week, and 5,000 users engaging with his content in 1 week. Right underneath, he can also see his stats, which show that 3,674 readers have read his content. He's gotten 56 helpful votes, 6 comments on his content, and 6,880 users have engaged with his content. And now I'll show you the user dashboard, which is a really powerful way to share information with your users on their performance and motivate them through their achievements and scores. And this contains pretty much all of the same information as a message bar and the web part, including the user's score, their persona rankings, stats, how they compare against their peers, and recent achievements. There's also an area for My Best Content, which shows the content piece with the most readers and the content piece with the most followers. And underneath that, we have top ways to boost your score, where users will again see next step suggestions. And so all of what we've shown right now is just for the end user, but now we'll hop on over to the admin dashboard, where we can see an overview of how your groups and users are performing within the organization and what their scores are. Here we can see the dashboard for the HR department. Across the top, you can see a high-level overview of likes over time, how many likes the users of the group gave over time, churn over time, the number of users who became less active in the past days, weeks, and months, and ranking over time, group ranking over time based on their score. Below the overview, you can see most adopted groups, the groups with the highest scores, most adopted people in group, users with the highest scores within the group, group rank, the average score of the group members combined, group engagement, the average score of the group each month, and user ranking, users with the highest scores within the group in a list format. And what is also neat about the admin dashboard is that we can filter by group, and the entire dashboard will dynamically show information specifically for the group you choose. So let's filter for sales. And we can see that the dashboard dynamically changes to show the stats for the sales group, and likewise if we select any other group to filter by. We also have this dashboard available for Yammer for both users and admin. Similarly to the other admin dashboard, you can select the metrics you would like to track and incentivize within your users. So now we have a couple of minutes left for Q&A. So I'd like to invite you all now to submit your questions and comments in the questions box in GoToWebinar. So again, please send any questions that you have in the GoToWebinar questions box. Okay, so I see we have a question from Rachel. What is the licensing for this? This is a SaaS platform, so a yearly subscription based on the number of users being tracked. I'd be happy to send you a link to the pricing page and get you additional information once we know how many additional users you want to track and target with these tools. And I see another question from Andrew. Can we use it for SharePoint Online? Yes, absolutely. You can use this tool with SharePoint On-Prem as well as with SharePoint Online. Within Office 365, we can track SharePoint and Yammer forms. In our roadmap, we will soon be releasing tracking capabilities for OneDrive, Teams, and Skype for Business. And we also have a question from James. Can we target different departments? Yes. So one of the things Cardiolog does is connect to SharePoint profiles. So you can track any region, department, branch, job title, really any other details that you use to segment your users and leverage those properties in the analytics as well as with Gamify. And I see a question from Sarah. How easy is it to deploy? So what's cool is that this tool is designed specifically for SharePoint, so there's no need for customization when you want to deploy. With our setup wizard, you can get it up and running within an hour and already start to collect data. And I see one last question here from Marcus. Do you have a trial? Yes, we do have a trial. We have a free trial as well as a proof of concept for people who want a longer evaluation or to try more environments and features versus the free limited trial. And we're just about out of time, so I'm going to wrap up our session for today. As a reminder, we have recorded this webinar and we'll be sending out a recording tomorrow for you to share with your colleagues who are unable to attend. We invite you to visit us at cardiologanalytics.com to book your free demo of Gamify. You can always tweet us at @Cardiolog. And for more information and helpful tips, you can check out our blog at blog.cardiologanalytics.com. For more information, you can contact us at info@cardiologanalytics.com. And if you think of any questions after the webinar, feel free to send your questions there. And a huge thanks again to everyone who joined us today and sent in their questions.